Just letting everybody know that we went live on my end. We still have about a minute left, but just letting you know.
Okay, we'll be good.
There we go.
And Richard, it looks like we do have everyone except for Megan, who had contacted me at the last minute that she was not going to make it. So I guess whenever you're ready, we can begin.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm Richard Grugan, Vice Chair, and like I said, Megan's absent, so I'll be leading the meeting tonight. So I'll call the meeting to orders. Everyone had an opportunity to read the October minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
Yeah, motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay. And a motion and a second. Do we have any objection to unanimous approval? If not, the minutes stand approved as read. So, okay, I guess we'll move right into the Parks report with Guy.
Good evening, everyone. Able to hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So reading through the monthly report, we performed various building and equipment maintenance tasks as needed this month. We continue to work with Shive Hattery, our city engineer, with contractors regarding the Rancho House project, which is coming along. You'll start seeing some progress out there. The parking lot's going in. The inside interior works is underway. Unfortunately, the weather, I know it's seasonally warm right now, but it's just not enough time for the painter to get the outside of the house painted. So that's going to have to wait until next spring to get the house painted. I'm also finishing up some tidy ends on the Aquatic Center HVAC project. And we awarded the hail damage roofing replacement work to Yoder Roofing from Wellman, Iowa. They were the lowest bidder and had the ability to perform both asphalt, shingle, and metal type roofing repairs. So saying that, every roof at Penn Meadows Park is getting replaced from the hail damage. So we're going to make some improvements. Anything that's shingles will now be metal on the standing seam metal. So it's all going to be consistent now. So we're going to come out I know it's going to cost us a little bit of money, but we're going to come out looking really nice when this is all said and done. We perform equipment repairs and preventive maintenance on equipment as needed. We've been servicing, installing winter equipment as time permits, preparing for the upcoming season. We maintain ball fields, soccer fields, and facilities at Penn Meadows Park. The season has recently ended, so we have winterized all the park facilities, including all the turf irrigation systems. We winterized the water fountain at Liberty Center Pond, so that's shut down now. We finished mowing and trimming all city parks and grounds. All native prairie areas have been cut down for the season. And I know my report says we'll finish winterizing all the city streetscapes, but we took advantage of this warm seasonal weather or unseasonal weather right now, and we finished all that streetscape landscaping's done. That's done now. We did spend about a week this month out on Forever Green Road with park staff. We did some fine grading and making improvements to the resident yards out there. I'm preparing for November dormant seeding, so that seeding is going to be going in here really soon. We hired a contractor to actually do that work for us, so in hopes that next spring that seed will take right off and grow. It's just too late in the season right now to try to get any turf grass established out there. Park staff installed new park benches at Beaver Creek Park, Centennial Park, and Fox Valley Park, and majority of these benches were paid by residents. They're basically memorial benches. They put a plaque on them. So I would say 3/4 of all our benches throughout all of our park systems and around our trails have been paid by residents. So that's a good program that we have going. Park staff did some training and some attended the Aquatics Forest Roadside Pest Management Recertification class on October 26th. This is required annually to maintain our state pesticide and herbicide licenses. We don't use herbicide and pesticide very often, but when we do, we want to have that tool in our tool bag when we need it. On October 26th, we assisted the Iowa Department of Natural Resources Fishery Management Team with the release of 2,000 rainbow trout at Liberty Center Pond. This is, I think, the third year we've done this now. The trout arrived from the state hatchery near Manchester, Iowa. The trout stocking will give anglers winter-long fishing opportunities at Liberty Center Pond. So they'll stay in the pond unless they're all fished out until the water reaches up to about, I think, 73 or so degrees in the spring. So once that happens, then trout die off. But in the last couple of years, we haven't seen too many trout die off because of that reason. So I think majority of the trout have been fished out. So it's a great opportunity for the different fishing anglers to have an opportunity to fish. And I noticed on the Iowa Department of Natural Resources website today, I get an email from them, and Liberty Center Pond is actually listed on their website as a fishing place that they've stocked trout. And the big one that I've been working on here recently is the FY 21-22 operational budget and capital improvements plan for the next fiscal year. Trying to make up some ground here because this past season we didn't get a lot of our projects done because of COVID. So we had to bring some of those down into this new coming up budget year. And so that kind of affected what I had planned for this year. So we just kind of had to stair step it on down to make room for the projects that we didn't get finished this past summer. And all our seasonal help is finished for the season. Had a really great team this year, so couldn't have done what we do without them. So I just want to say thank you to our whole seasonal staff this past season. And after that, do you have any questions for me?
I've got a question. Since you brought up COVID and it's looking like it's going to be with us well into next year, how's that going to affect our planning for some of these projects that kind of got put aside this year because of COVID?
Well, I think it's probably not going to affect it as much because we know a whole lot more about COVID. You know, at the beginning, we were pretty much locked down. And so we just we didn't know where we were going to be budget wise or, health wise. So I don't think it's going to be quite as big of a problem this year. It's just now we're going to play some catch up from what we've didn't do this past summer.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions for Guy? Sounds like we've done a lot of good work, a lot of good things. And yeah, the nice weather here the last few days has been helpful to thinking about winterizing when it's 70 degrees, but that's a good opportunity to do that. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, thanks, Guy.
You're welcome.
Now I guess we move on to the rec report. We got Shelley here tonight.
Thank you very much. I'll kind of just briefly go through a few things that are listed in that report. But again, feel free to stop at any time and ask questions. Basically, October 2020 was definitely different from years past. No haunted happenings, no maze, no real full decorations throughout the facility. So it continues, yes, to be very, very different within the community center compared to years past. But we'll keep continuing and trying to add what we can do within the facility on a dialed approach. We're still working Monday through Friday, open hours of 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. We do have limited part-time staff starting to come back now, helping with some of our programs on Sundays, and then also just filling in and getting acclimated and actually proceeding to possibly be open up on weekends in January is kind of our plan of attack, but it does start now for staff to get part-timers hired and on board. And again, I think with COVID and also with just the times right now, it has been a little hindering, I think. The first session of swim lessons, we had to, back off on numbers just because of swim instructors that actually had limited a few of those. We've now added up where for the November session of lessons, we are increasing from October. But talking with Matt Messick, who handles our part-time staff on the rec side for building monitor and offsites. Again, we don't have offsites, but to try and fill those positions now again, after being down all these months, it will be a process, and we'll continue to look at that. And hopefully by January, we can have enough staff and keep everything going up, open Monday through Friday, along with also on weekends. Most operations are online, switching to online, where members can reserve their time use online, registration online, and just trying to get everybody somewhat comfortable in doing it that way. It is definitely a change for a lot of people. It's amazing how many drop-ins that we have using the facility, and then just the comfort of people coming to the front desk and letting staff register them and stuff like that. So it continues to be a process. Brian set up a computer back in the front lobby again, so as they come in, we can be there to assist and get them acclimated, hopefully to more online operations and comfortable. So we'll see how that goes. Brian, at any time, if you want to jump in too, feel free. We've been tracking a facility usage since the pandemic. We started with, lap swimming, and, we were at about 34 users per day when we first started in June. And then as I stated there in a little brief summary, in July, we added the weight and exercise room. And so we jumped up to about 64 users per day. August went back down because of the pool being closed for the HVAC, but we did add track. And so we were again down a little bit, down to 53 users per day. And then in September, when we reopened the indoor pool, we added the gymnasiums. We were averaging about 96 users per day. As the weather turns colder, we will see that probably number continue to increase. In October, we did average about 102 users per day. And again, that will continue probably to increase as the months pass by. Programming wise, we're still offering some virtually. We did start though in-person classes, and a lot of those in-person classes started in September, but are offered on a monthly basis. Their sessions, I guess, are monthly based. And so that included tippy toes dance, a lot of fitness classes, and just, again, slowly trying to bring in some of those popular programs, Pee Wee soccer. And then Brian can touch on leagues here next. One thing I didn't have in my report under program wise was we did offer a couple Halloween moonlight walks. Basically, we had 50 different time slots with a walk around center, around the Liberty Center, and 50 people per time slot and we had 7 time slots. So basically about 350 participants took place into that event. And it's just stuff like that where we're trying to, with the pandemic, how do we operate a little differently, safely? And actually, I think that went well. We did also work with community movies at the Colony Pumpkin Farm on 2 nights. And there was about 100 individuals registered each night for those 2 nights. So again, just trying to think outside the box as we move forward. Brian, I'll let you go ahead and talk about leagues since you're the main one in charge of that. They have their little summary there, but if you want to touch base on how things are going.
So we've completed NLC volleyball and we've completed NLC flag football. Didn't have any issues with COVID or anything during that time. We pretty much just told people that when they come in and watch that, you know, if it's not the whole entire family, if it could just be mom and dad, and I think that worked out great. So we got through that season. We're in the basketball season. So we've had men's league, which is actually went very well. Also, we kind of said the same thing. Don't bring your whole entourage of friends and to come watch you play men's league basketball. So that has went really well. We haven't had any issues there. Like I said, it's about done. I think it has 2 weeks left. So that's about done. Co-ed volleyball is going on right now. No issues there. So it's still got several weeks left. We did start competitive youth basketball. We have had some issues there. We've had teams that have called and said somebody is tested positive. So then we have to kind of try to work around the schedule, reschedule them, try to figure out what to do. Sometimes when it's a positive, it affects 3 different teams because all those kids are all on other basketball teams and they're all together. So it kind of screws things up there. So we have had some basically 8th graders, I guess it would be. So junior high kids that have tested positive, and now we're just doing a bunch of rescheduling. Tonight we had one of the 6th grade girls teams call in and somebody there had tested positive. So I just told them not to come this week, keep me informed, let me know what's going on, and we'll see if they can come play next week or not. We don't have a lot of time slots to make up anything because we just have the rec center gyms and certain nights to do it. So that's kind of some of the things that are going on there that they're going. Sometimes limping along, I feel like at times, but we're trying to get things rescheduled and everybody seems to be doing really well there. Also with the competitive leagues, we take everybody's temperature when they come in, make sure that's everything's there. Everybody has to wear a mask. Kids wear a mask unless they're on the court. Some kids can wear a mask if they want to on the court. Otherwise, they don't have to. Coaches wear masks. And like I said, everybody that comes into the gym wears a mask. We haven't had any issues with anybody freaking out and saying, hey, I'm not going to wear my mask. So that's been good. But everything's been going along, trying to keep it as normal as we can. But I know in these days and times, it's not always normal. So that's about all I got.
Just going off the report then, again, offsite programs, we have nothing to report there just because of not being able to get into the schools. Swim lessons, like I said, for this first session, September through October, we had 40 participants. We do have another session starting in November that we will have that number increase. And so I'll report that next month. Again, we're going by appointment only, and you can see the numbers there, the different areas of the facility that people are using and how it's gradually increased from day to day, which is good. One thing there, the indoor pool, due to aqua classes and also swim lessons, that number of time slots for lap swimmers will vary now, and that number you might see drop just because as we add more swim lessons, then there might not be as many times that members can come and do lap swims. So we're trying to, again, work through that. You know, what is the demand? Where's our slow times? Where's our peak times? And hopefully keep everybody happy. That's the same with gymnasiums too. As we get into our busy programming season for the gymnasiums, having that opportune time for members to just come in and shoot hoops, definitely in the evenings, late afternoons, evenings are going to be probably very difficult. And a lot of people this time of year definitely want gym times, but until we get schools, there's really no way. Our programs come first, and then our members, the ability for them to come in and shoot is kind of our top priorities at this time. You can see there from the monthly summary of what we took in, with membership for weight and exercise area, memberships for the pool, and then the black and gold, which is kind of a split membership between pool use and also weight and exercise. You can see the numbers there of revenue. The little revenue that we have coming in is starting to come back around, which is good. Rentals, again, we remain closed for rentals just because of not having school gymnasiums. And just with our limited hours, we're trying to meet programming and membership needs. We don't have any daily fees to report at this point. The rest of the report there does have the monthly income by each account. I don't know if anybody has questions on that. And then a lot of the other reports are just some of the things we get through Rec Desk showing us, our top programs registration wise for the month. Our membership counts for the month. And then the last sheet, that organizational activity, is basically kind of just what people are doing online or in person, demographics and all that. So just information that I thought is interesting to kind of keep an eye on as we move forward. But if you have any questions, let me know.
So I have questions related to COVID. So as a healthcare provider in the community, certainly this is something that is on my mind constantly. And so I think that I want to know, in part, is there a well-developed plan in place for if there is outbreaks, how we're going to handle that as we see cases rise in the community here like we're anticipating, and how will you scale back numbers to reflect that need of the community?
Yeah, a lot of our registration numbers that we put in place for either last month and this month, have been low. 8 and below is our numbers for classes and stuff like that. That's one of the reasons why we're not taking drop-ins, is because we want that contact information to immediately contact people when something may or may not arise. Same with members making their own reservation times and signing up during specific time slots. So if it is brought to our attention, then we can contact them, say, hey, this is what's been brought to our attention, and we can pass that along to the community. From a city standpoint, we're in constant meetings with City Hall, and any type of incident, I report to them, and then either staff-wise and or patron, I'm trying to keep everybody kind of informed of, hey, if you hear something, bring it to my attention, let's look at it and then evaluate how we're going to handle each situation. So, and then Brian touched on, how he's handling with some of the leagues and teams and how it affects it. And again, it's something that we understand it's going to change at any time. And we're just doing our best to communicate what's going on and being safe, not only for the community, but for staff as well.
And everybody that comes into the rec center, we take their temperature, we ask them all the questions, that stuff's all written down. So we have all that in case there is something that happens or we hear of somebody that has tested positive that's been at the rec center. So we have those things as well.
And I would say it's definitely out there because, we've had some staff test positive, and we've actually had this week actually had a couple patrons that come for pickleball called and let us know that they had tested positive. So we, again, were able to contact those individuals within pickleball and say, hey, just to let you know, it was brought to our attention, and just to let them aware, make sure they, if you're home or sick, stay home. And if you have symptoms, keep an eye on symptoms for everybody's health reasons.
So if in terms of the leagues with the school aged participants, if the schools go back because the community positivity rate changes enough to move the schools back completely virtual, will the programming at the rec center reflect that in terms of the league participation?
Last time we did,
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
last time when youth volleyball and stuff was going on, when the schools were still in, we did not. We stayed open, and I think those people that signed up for it are people that apparently aren't as worried as other people from what I'm taking, or else they wouldn't sign up. I mean, our numbers are less, which I think we expected. So I think the people that are coming apparently are okay with it to be open, but last time, no, we did not. We were open. We had our programs when the schools were not in process.
Okay.
And I think that will come from those decisions as far as closing down or, stopping, halting programming will come with our meetings with City Hall, city administration and department heads. That's kind of how when it first hit, hey, we shut down and, staff was working half from home and half, in the facility. So I think those types of situations, something will be talked at the department head level and then handled from the top down as far as what they feel is safest for the community.
Yeah. And, I agree with Guy's comment earlier in that we know so much more now than we did when this first started in terms of like large scale shutdowns and whatnot. But I just think it's good if we can be like, having those conversations and being proactive here instead of having to be kind of reactive like we were in the spring. So I think it's just, it's good that you said you're having the conversations, and that's all good to know so that we're kind of aware what that impact could be again here this winter.
Right.
Yes, I think good points. I know it's outside the box a lot. You kind of answered one question that I hadn't had, that somebody asked me about the registration, so you have a computer in the rec center that somebody can walk in and use. And if they're not real adept at computer, you can help them get registered. And also they ask, like, can they come in and just say, I want to come every day at 9 o'clock for so long? Or is it just day-to-day registration? I have to admit, I haven't been on the site.
Actually, we have it pretty much about a month out. And so we usually leave like starting probably within the next couple of weeks. We have December in already. But coming up in a couple of weeks, we'll then work on inputting all the January dates for them to then register for January dates. So we have kind of like at least a 2 to 3 week window of us inputting that information in, then for the members to go in and sign up for those dates.
That's good. I know you're trying to make it, make it as convenient as possible, but how they like their schedules.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's good.
It's hard.
More questions for Brian and Shelley?
I had a question. I remember from my days of working at the rec what it was like after New Year's when everybody makes that New Year's resolution to come work out, and January and February are always nuts. So knowing that we don't have the capacity to be able to offer more on site, have we thought ever about partnering somehow with existing virtual classes? I mean, I know we can only do so many virtual classes and put those out there, but I don't know, tapping into another system, giving a discounted rate to another already established program, or collaborating with Iowa City and Coralville on that. Because my head just gets stuck at more people are going to want to exercise and it's going to have to be virtual. So where could we find more of those opportunities?
Again, I think we're looking at it more of with our different time slots and allowing so many users per area. Hopefully we can accommodate, it's more of juggling probably the schedules. The biggest time always in person is usually, 4:30 on till close. So again, is there alternative ways with people maybe still working from home or whatever, can then, not with kids not in school, can they come at different times to use the facility, get their exercise? And then again, we're working with our own instructors. Can they do both in-person and virtual classes? And yeah, we're trying to think of any connections whatsoever to, continue any recreational type thinking opportunities. And how can we either offer it virtually, or one example that we're working on right now is winter activity packets, kind of similar to what we did for summer lunch program. We handed out little, like a craft project, food item, motion or activity item. And we were thinking like coloring sheets, just something where they can do either at home with home supplies, or come to the rec center, pick up a packet, take it home and do it. So we're just trying to think of those types of opportunities, since limited use at the facility and in person may hinder that opportunity.
Anything else, Brian and Shelley? Quiet bunch. Good job. I know, thinking outside the box, that takes a lot. I know you're being creative, trying to meet the needs, but being very cautious. That's important. Do we have any
if
other?
any of you guys do ideas, let us know. We're open to all ideas. So don't be afraid to, hey, this sounds a little crazy, but I had this idea. That's kind of what we're doing just as a staff is, okay, what can we do? So, we're open to any ideas you guys might hear from the community or yourselves thinking. Please let us know and we'll try and tap into it.
That's good. Thanks. Anybody have any other items or questions or concerns to bring up tonight?
I've got a couple updates. I ordered weight equipment for the rec center. We get about $45,000 budgeted every year. I'm going to replace 13 pieces of equipment upstairs. So we'll just swap them in and out because we can't add any more stuff up there. So we're getting 13 new pieces of equipment. I think the stuff that we're getting rid of is 2011. So we're slowly catching up. So I did order that today. It's supposed to be 4 to 6 weeks till we get that stuff, and then they'll install it. The other thing that we're getting new, and I might have said this at another last meeting, a gym divider in Jones Gym, which is the original divider was in there since 1997. So we're getting a new one in that gymnasium. It was supposed to be installed about a week ago. Apparently it got shipped to Cedar Rapids and then eventually made itself to the East Coast. So it is on its way back to Cedar Rapids, and it's supposed to be delivered and done next Tuesday. They're supposed to work on it and get it finished. So it's made its way around the United States. So those are just two of the updates I had on a couple things we're doing new things we're getting at the rec center. So
Along those same lines, going back to Craig's question about budget and stuff and capital projects, that's, I guess, one thing lucky from our standpoint here on the rec side. The biggest capital project was the pool HVAC system this year, and we got that done immediately. So that and the pool painting. So a lot of our stuff already went through and is okay and had it covered. Again, for any projects moving forward, like Guy says, do they move back a year when it comes to the bigger program projects? Budget wise though, it's pretty much, I'm going to probably submit similar things, and a lot of our things that are still within budget, like Brian said, the exercise equipment. We have some other things that are within kind of just general fund, not big ticket items, fall within the budget that has been approved already. I've been given the okay to continue pursuing those estimates and getting those project systems done, I guess, instead of the larger capital projects, which more affects Guy than us at this point in time.
Thanks for the update. Thanks, Brian, keeping those that equipment modern and in good shape. Yeah. Anything else? Any questions, concerns?
What do you do with the old equipment?
Normally, the company will take it and give us some sort of credit for it. It's usually not a lot. Like the weight equipment that we're going to trade out last year, they weren't going to give us very much, so I decided to keep it and just put it in that area where the old track used to be, above one of the gymnasiums. So we put it all up there, so we kind of have a double of everything. So it just gave us more equipment. At that point, I had to ask an engineer to come in and make sure that we could put all that equipment there so it wouldn't structurally fall or anything, and it was okay. So that's what we did last time. We don't get a lot of money for it, but we also don't have to take it downstairs and get rid of it and haul it away. So could we get more if we put it out there for people to purchase? You know, probably, but I think there's a whole process that goes into selling stuff that's pretty much city taxpayers' money. So yeah, that's kind of what we do now, and it works because they get to do all the heavy lifting of getting that stuff in there and taking that stuff out of there, and we just kind of stand there and watch and let them do it. So
There's really very little value in that old equipment. I renovated several workout areas in hotels and resorts over the years. And the first time that we did that, and you know, this equipment's really expensive, the new stuff. And it's like, well, this stuff's only 5 years old. I mean, you're only going to give us $200 for a $5,000 or $7,000 piece of equipment. It is, nobody really wants it. We ended up selling it to our associates, and raising some money for some associate charities. But there's a real, it's really hard to get rid of old equipment or make anything off old equipment.
And they did tell me that this year is a little different, that people do want the equipment. There are needs out there because people are all staying inside and doing their thing. So they've had a hard time keeping up with people's requests, like dumbbells. It sounds like dumbbells are very hard to come by. So people can't just go out and buy a 45-pound dumbbell anywhere because they're just not out there because everybody's buying them. So they probably saw some of the stuff we had. I mean, it's 2011, so it's not new stuff that they're getting, but and some of it needs some work. So it's it's a trade-off, but it's a good one, I think, for us anyway.
Yeah, good. Anything else? And we're ready for that magic motion.
I move we adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Get your name on the minutes. Yeah. Any objection to a unanimous vote on that? If not, meeting's adjourned. Everybody have a good week. I think the next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, December 3rd. So might not be as nice a weather as tonight. So we'll look forward to seeing everybody then.
Hey, we get to Zoom, so the weather doesn't matter.
Happy holidays.
We are adjourned. So